table here we have something I've been very excited about for a long time, and that is a manual steering conversion kit from Martin Willis, or the Machine Shop. So yeah, I'd seen other people install these online, and I definitely had to get my hands on one. So let's go ahead and unbox it and show you guys exactly what's included in the kit, and we'll go ahead and get it on the car because it needs it. Okay, as you see here, we have a manual steering rack. So this is compiled from various VW and Porsche parts. I do not know exactly. You would have to go on the website and check out the description. But this is intended to be a direct bolt-on to the car. We also have a new steering shaft. And apparently this one's updated as far as like how you clock it. So again, it should be a direct bolt-on. So of course, this is going to lighten up the car, eliminate some parasitic drag with the power steering pump, some potential leaks. There's a lot of benefits to it. And of course, it will just give us a better steering feel, which is what I want. So let's go ahead and get the car in here and start tearing stuff off. Really excited about it. So under the hood here, the only change that we're gonna have is actually just removing the power steering reservoir. And then there's actually some power steering cooling lines that are kind of in this area within the bumper and stuff. I'll show those down below, but we're gonna be able to eliminate all of that. You can tell the front wheel bearing needs some help too. Now looking underneath the car, you can see our tie rod ends, the steering rack, all the way across there, our power steering pump with a simple belt setup and tensioners. So we're going to remove all of this. And then looking up here, you can see the coil of metal tubing. So this is the power steering cooler lines. So we're going to eliminate all of that too. Yep. All right, our next step is to drain the fluid here after we have, woo. So now that we've removed the actual sway bar, it's time to drain the fluid here while we get to work on other things. How can I get these out without bending the absolute shit out of them? Ooh, just enough. All right. All right, next up is that right there. So this is the actual rag joint on the steering. So that's where it couples to the rack. We need to undo that nut and then slide the entire shaft up as we pull the entire rack off. So a little hard to see, but we'll get it. There's actually a good bit of room there for a wrench. There we go. There is a small something holding up that line. There's definitely no getting a detailed shot of that. All right, on the table we got the old and the new. So down here, all of the power steering components, all of the coolant lines, the hoses, rack itself, the reservoir, the pump. And up here you can see the difference in the steering shaft. So our new one is about 2 inches longer, and that is to compensate for this area here that we are missing on the new rack. Now, as no surprise, that's atrocious. So both inner tie rods were really bagged out on this thing. It will feel like a new car when we're done. So what I'm going to do now is set the tie rod length. I'm just going to try to match this the best I can. Obviously it's not going to be perfect because of the tie rods, but we'll go ahead and get it set in the ballpark. Go ahead and get the rack on and continue with install. It should go in pretty quick. Okay, we're making progress here. So I went ahead and centered the rack. So we went lock, made a line, to the other lock, made a line, and then found the center of that. So that should be set and ready to go. Then I've also gone ahead and set the tie rods. So just comparing rack to rack there. And then lastly, I went ahead and cleaned the clamps here. So we are ready to get this thing on. And we'll start with the steering shaft. Go ahead and get that in the car, followed by the rack. All right, here's the new setup. So I just have it on one scale. So we're looking at that top right corner there, 16 pounds, and that's just steering shaft with the rack itself. So that's also including that plastic tote, which I will include in the next one. So let's go ahead get the old setup on here and see how much that weighs. And of course the old setup here, we're clocking in at a full 32 pounds. So that's actually including, you can see it down there, the actual fluid that I captured out of the system. I had to put it up on the table because the tie rods droop so much, I didn't want them to touch anything. So it wouldn't work being on the ground. But anyway, yeah, 32 pounds. So we'll do the math there, but that's a decent chunk of weight savings.
first impressions of the manual steering are that I love it. You are required to have a little bit more input, of course, but like mid-corner there feels great. Of course, if you're trying to maneuver this thing around a parking lot, it's going to be a little bit more effort, but I mean, you can two-finger this thing. It's not bad. And this is a light car. I've had multiple vehicles with manual steering, and this one's not bad at all. So it may not be for everybody, that's fine. But I do like the 15-pound weight savings, as well as the other benefits. So anyway, I'm going to shut up and just drive, because I love this section. Turning this thing around. Look at that. Super tight turning radius. There's not a ton of effort required for this. Overall feel of the system though, I really like it. The input is great. Mid-corner, you get a lot of feedback. You really know what the car's doing. And of course, I'm going to know what the car's doing a lot more, because our tie rods don't have a half-inch of play on them on either side. So, yeah, a lot more confidence inspiring. This thing's a hoot, though. This is the first time I can drive the car and really start to